So hello guys, I hope you are all doing well. Firstly, I will check whether the stream is working or not. Then we are going to start with our new lecture. Today our main topic is we are beginning with the chapter 1 of our polity. We have covered the earlier topics that are important, but today we are going to cover one of the most important part, that was making of the constitution and some of the schedules. These are really important, so we are going to continue with it. Okay, so first of all, a constitution laid out the idea. What is constitution? A constitution is a set of rule or ideas that laid out for its citizens so that they can follow it and make it a better society. So tradition of when was it began? So it was began in 1787 when US got independence. So when US got independence, it got independence on 4 July 1776 and they made their constitution on 1787. While all democrats are like to have a constitution, is okay. So like all democratic would like to have a constitution, but it is not necessary that all countries having a constitution are democratic. Okay, so a democratic government is a form of government in which the power lies in the hand of the people, and they have power to elect or reject the government. And as Abraham Lincoln said, it is a government by the people, for the people, and to the people. So now coming on to the types of government, there are many types of government such as communist, just as China and Russia. They believe in like equal distribution of the resources. What is oligarchic? It is means by like when few people oligarchy and few people rule the country. Monarchy means only single people had holds the authority, like Saudi Arabia, UK is a government, but like they have king, so it is considered to be as monarchy. Totalitarian, like it refers to a total control of the lives of the citizen by whosoever is ruling. Like in the Kim Jong Un's country, they have sole right for the rights of the people. So if the example of totalitarian is North Korea. Now coming on to the Constituent Assembly. So first of all, we'll talk about the timeline, like how this process began and when, up till when, and how things gone. So timeline is 1928. The early draft of Indian Constitution Nehru report was submitted. All parties conference chaired by the Motilal Nehru. Okay, so when the Simon Commission happened, the Indians protested. So the Britishers said, "You present us a report on based on your demands." So in 1928, Motilal Nehru presented the his part by the Nehru report. It is in 1928. Coming on to the 1934, Amendment first proposed the idea of the Constituent Assembly in India. Okay, in 1934, who Aman Roy? Who was Aman Roy? He was the founder of the Communist Party in India, where he formed in the Tashkent, Uzbekistan, and he formalized it in Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. In 1935, the Indian National Congress officially demanded a Constituent Assembly. Okay, so what does it mean? In 1935, the Congress demanded a Constituent Assembly. Okay, so in 1938, Jawaharlal Nehru, on behalf of Indian National Congress, declared the Constitution of Free India must be framed without outside interference. A Constituent Assembly based on unilateral franchise. In 1938, Jawaharlal Nehru ji said, like, we will be making an Indian Constitution without any external interference. Okay, so what are the offers given from the Britain as they were ruling India? So it is really important to listen to their part also. So reason ongoing World War was the reason, that is why Britishers were offering to India. So they presented August offer in 1940, Chris proposal in 1942, Wavell plan in 1945, and Cabinet Mission plan in 1946. With three Britisher cabinet, like in Cabinet Mission plan, there were three people, uh, Patrick Lawrence, okay, chairman, Stafford Cripps, and A.V. Alexander. Okay, only cabinet mission plan was accepted by both the Muslim League and Indian National Congress, has the Constituent Assembly formed accordingly. for the rejection of the former ones. Congress demanded Pune Swaraj, but Britishers offered dominion status. What does it mean? Like the Congress want to sole right of the independence of India, but they were giving a dominion status. So dominion status was rejected by the Indians. Gandhiji made a commentary. It is like uh, a news check on the bank run sort of something he said. So now coming on to the cabinet mission plan. So cabinet mission plan of the 1946. Okay, सबसे पहले अगस्त ऑफर आया था. Then we got Crisp proposal. Then we got Wavell plan. Then we got cabinet mission plan. So what was the idea of cabinet mission plan? So total number of seats will be 389. Out of which 296 will be elected, and out of 292 members come from governor province, 11 provinces in total. Okay, 4 members came from chief commissioner provinces, 4 provinces. Okay, nominated member were how much? They were 93, represented princely estate. Members to be nominated by the rural rulers of the princely estate. Okay, nominated members are the 93 members, and who are those nominated members? They are the members who are elected by the princely estate. Okay, so like total member 389 and 296 were represented by British, and 292 came from governor provinces, 11 provinces in total. 4 came from chief commissioner provinces, 4 provinces, and nominated members were 93. Okay. What is seat allocation? Seat allocated to each British province were to be divided among 3 principal communities: Muslim, Sikh, and General. Okay. So this was the seat allocation plan, and 1 seat was to be allotted for per 1 million population. It was partially elected and partly nominated. Okay. Method of election: indirect elections. So what was the method of election? It was proportional representation plus single transferable vote. Okay, in July-August, election held in July-August 1946, majority was won by like 208 seat. Okay, by the Indian National Congress. Muslim League won 73 seats and Independent won 15 seats. Okay, out of total 296 seats, this was the ratio. Like majority was gone to the INC, 207 seat, and after that Muslim League was 73 and Independent was 15 seats. Okay, after this boycott uh, Muslim League remaining to 200. After boycott of Muslim League boycotted these results and they divided India, and after this we got 299 seats after the partition. Okay, what is interim government? Interim government, 2nd September 1946, the interim government of India was formed late. It lasted until the India's independence in 1947 and the partition of India and Pakistan. The President Executive Council, the President of Executive Council, Viceroy and Governor General of India, Wavell and Lord Mountbatten from Feb 1947. Okay. Commander in Chief Sir Claude Auchinleck, Vice President also in charge of External Affairs and Commonwealth Relations, Jawaharlal Nehru was the in charge of the External Affairs and Commonwealth Relations. Okay. Commander in Chief was like he, President of Viceroy and Governor. Okay. So Home Affairs was given to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Agriculture was given to Rajendra Prasad ji, and Commerce was given to Raj Churandrigar, Defense was given to Baldev Singh, Finance was given to Liaquat Ali Khan, he was first PM of the Pakistan, and Health was the Ghaznafar Ali Khan. Okay, Health was given to Labor was given to Jagjeevan Ram. Law was given to Jogennath Mandal. Okay. Education and arts was given to C. Rajgopalachari. Railway and communication was given to Post Air Abdul Nishtar. Industry and supplies was given to John Mathai. The first interim national government was announced on 24 August 1946. Okay. So first interim national government was announced. So these all were the members. Okay, interim government. What is objective resolution? Objective resolution moved by the Jawaharlal Nehru on 13 December 1946 in Constitutional Assembly laid the fundamental principle and philosophy for the Indian Constitution. It was adopted on 21st January and 1947. It was later adopted as the preamble of the Constitution. Okay. Committee of the Constituent Assembly. There are 8 major committees and 13 minor committees, and there were different head of those committees. So first of all, union power, union culture, state, provincial. Like if you got union and state, you will answer the Jawaharlal Nehru, and if you get provincial and fundamental right, this kind of committee you will get to Sardar Patel. Minority committee was SC Mukherjee, tribal and excluded subcommittee was AV Thakkar. Who was the author of the, like, who was the head of the drafting? BR Ambedkar. And like rules for of procedure committee, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. The steering committee was also Rajendra Prasad. Okay. Now coming on to the minor committees, finance and self committee was Dr. Rajendra Prasad. National flag was Rajendra Prasad. Credential committee was Iyer. House committee was Pattabhi Sitaramaiah. Committee on Chief Commissioner of Provinces, Pattabhi Sitaramaiah. Order of Business, Bunshiji. Committee on Functions of the Constituent Assembly, G. Mavlankar. Okay. Linguist was Eskidhar. Special to examine draft constitution was J.L. Nehru. Ad hoc committee on S. Vardhachar. So now coming on to drafting committee. So it was set up on 29 August 1947. Total member of the drafting committee were 7. Who was the head of the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the chairman of the drafting committee. It sat for 141 days and it started first meeting on 1947, 30th August. So, okay. Who were the member of the Constitution Committee? Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, N. Gopal Swami Iyengar, Mohammad Sadullah, B.L. Mittar, N. Madhav Rao, D.P. Khaitan replaced by T.T. Krishnamachari, K.M. Munshi. Okay. 21 Feb, first draft was published. It took 8 months for the people of India to discuss it. Draft of the Constituent Assembly. Okay. First draft was on 21st Feb 1948. Second draft 21st October 1948. 4th November 1948, B.R. Ambedkar introduced the final draft before the Constituent Assembly. Okay. B.R. Ambedkar was elected to the Constituent Assembly from Bengal in place of Jogennath Mandal in before partition, but after partition he was elected from the Bombay Presidency. So first reading was 5 days, second reading was 10 months and 3 days, and third reading completed on 26 November 1949 and was when they finally decided that this is going to be our constitution. Okay, 15 November 1948 से 17 October 1949. Now coming on to the important session, total how many session held? Total 11 session held for 165 days. Total time taken for drafting the constitution are 2 year 11 month and 18 days. Okay. Number of members who signed constitution on 24 Jan 1950 were 284 and 24 Jan when the finally it was going to be applied on the India the constitution, approximately 284 members signed it, out of which 15 were women and 269 were men. Okay. So what was the budget of the drafting of constitution was 64 lakh. First session was in 9 to 23rd December. Okay. 10th session 6 to 17 December. Okay. October 1949. 11th session 14 to 26 November 1949. 26 November 1949 constitution was adopted. This day is also celebrated at the Constitution Day. Constitution was enforced commenced on 26 January 1950 as Public Republic Day, but a few provisions of the Constitution that came into force on 36 November 1949 were okay. So you know that it was earlier completed the formation of the Constitution, but it was adopted on 20th 6 January. It was because of the 26 January 1930 was the day when Jawaharlal Nehru thought that it is going to be the Independence Day of India. So he planned that Republic Day should be on the 26th January. So in 1950 he celebrated it like that. So talking about first meeting functions, functions of the and other than making of the constitution. Okay. So some of the things were applied before the commencement of the constitution, such as like citizenship was applied, elections were applied, and provisional parliament. Okay. The reason for choosing the days is because same in 1930 Purn Swaraj Day was celebrated with Lahore. Okay. Function of the Constituent Assembly other than making of the Constitution. Okay. What are the functions? So first meeting was on the 9th December 1946. Whenever the assembly met as the constituent body, it was chaired by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. When it met as a legislative body, it was chaired by the G.V. Mavlankar. So who was the temporary president? So Sachindranath Sinha was the temporary president. Okay. When it was met as a constituent body, who headed it? Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and it had when it met as a legislative body, it was chaired by the G.V. Mavlankar. Okay. President after election was Rajendra Prasad. Vice President was V.T. Krishnamachari and H.C. Mukherjee. It functioned at the first Parliament of India. It was adopted when the national flag was adopted. Was adopted on 26 Jan 1947. Okay, it was at July 22nd July. It was adopted national anthem Jangan Man by Rabindranath Tagore and national anthem Vande Mataram by Bankim Chand Chatterjee on 24 January 1950. And India ratified its Commonwealth membership in May 1949. Elected Dr. Rajendra Prasad as the first Prime President of India at 26 January 1950. Some of the most important facts are Sarpalli Radhakrishnan. So Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan was one of the speaker after Jawaharlal Nehru to address the parliament. So Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan ji was the speaker, was one of the speaker, and after that to address the parliament on midnight of the 15th August 1947. The Socialist Party called for the dissolution of the Constituent Assembly, its re-election by the adult suffrage. Okay. B.R. Ambedkar stated on 26 Jan 1950, we are going to enter a life of contradiction in politics. We will have equality in social life. We will have inequality. Okay. Designer of the Indian Bengali Venkaiah, approved by Mahatma Gandhi in Congress meeting in Vijayawada 1921. Somnath Lahiri, the Constituent Assembly was the conspiracy of Britishers books Sambodh, and Somnath Lahiri was the writer and editor of the left newspaper Swadhinta. Okay. H.M. Siveri authored the book Constitutional Law of India, Comprehensive Code of Indian Constitution. The printed record of the Constituent Assembly was compiled in 12 volumes. Okay. The Constitution calligrapher Prem Narayan Bihari Rayachada and Vasant Kunt Vaidya was in the Hindi. Okay. The Constitution was decorated by Nandlal Bose and Behar Ram Manohar Sinha. Okay. Please remember this. Okay. Secretary of the Constituent Assembly was H.V. Iyengar. India's constitution is the largest written constitution of the world. That is symbol, it is helipad, and what is the color? It is of the blue color. And like language of constitution is English. So important female member of the Constituent Assembly were Rajkumari Amrit Kaur. She was first health minister of India. Suchita Kamrali, first chief minister of Uttar Pradesh, and Sarojini Naidu was the first governor of the Uttar Pradesh. Indian constitution is the lengthiest written constitution in the world. Originally, the constitution contained 395 articles and 22 parts and 8 schedule. Okay. After that, 448 articles and now 20 and there are 12 schedules. Earlier there were 8 schedules and 22 parts. Now there are 25 parts and 448 articles and 12 schedule. Okay. Constitutional amendment refers to it CA. Okay. Written constitution and difference between it is a written constitution is structured, unwritten is not structured. For written is formally constituted, unwritten is not formally constituted, and written is not easy to amend, but unwritten is easy to amend. Example of written is like India and unwritten is UK. Okay. Mixed rigidity and flexibility. Some part of Indian constitution can be amended by simple majority and some by special majority. It is rigid. The topic discussed in detail in amendment chapter. Okay. So now coming on to the federalism, this refers as to the existence of more than one level. What does this federalism mean? Federalism generally means when the things will come at a different levels. Like we know that we follow legislative, executive, and judiciary. Okay, this kind of thing is also known as federalism. Okay, there are three types of the government that exist in India: union, state, and local bodies. Okay. So union is at the central level, state level, and like local bodies are panchayat, municipalities, and these kind of bodies are local bodies. Under federalism, the states are not merely agents of federal government; they derive their authority from the constitution itself. Okay. India has a federation with a unitary bias. Okay, so you will see in the constitution the things that are mentioned are little bit skewed toward the center to make it more powerful. And these kind of provisions are taken from which country? These kind of provisions are taken from Canada. Okay. Now, federal feature versus unitary feature. What is mean by federal and unitary feature? Unitary feature are those in which the center is becoming stronger, and federal feature are those in which the state has getting some power. State is getting some power. Okay. Now, coming on to the federal features, we will federal feature is written constitution, supremacy of the constitution, rigidity of separate services, bicameralism, dual government, and independent judiciary. This kind of thing you are seeing that all this kind of thing are somehow making the central government or the union government weaker. If you have written constitution, you cannot easily amend it or create problems with someone. And dual citizenship, dual government, bicameralism, this kind of thing you can see is making the center more weaker. Now coming out of the unitary feature is the single constitution, single citizenship, flexibility of the constitution. Okay, all India services, emergency provisions, appointment of governor by the center, and integrated judiciary. You will see that here the central government is getting more power. So this is the difference. So there are some commentary like Casey Weir said it is a quasi federal government. What does cooperative federalism says? It is Granville Austin. Okay. What is bargaining federalism means? Maurice Jones. Federalism with centralizing tendencies. Ivor Jennings. India has parliamentary form of government. It is taken from UK. Three organs of the government, we know that judicial, executive, and legislative. Okay, legislative makes laws, executive carries out laws, and judiciary evaluate whether the laws are good or not. Now coming on to the schedules of the Indian Constitution, we know that there are 12 schedules currently, so we need to learn each uh, each each schedule very thoroughly, because we know that the pattern of the exam is changed and it is getting much more deeper. Okay, so coming on to the first schedule, it is regarding the names of the state and unity and their territory jurisdiction. Okay, schedule 2 tells us about the tiers of old PM is the trick to learn. So first one is territory, second is regarding the emoluments and the salaries that the government official get. Okay, so in this, who came in the second schedule? President, salary of vice president, president, governor, speaker, deputy speaker, Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha, chairman, deputy chairman, judges, and CAG. Now coming on to the schedule 3, TEA. Now A is oath and affirmation, union and state, minister, MPs, MLAs, judges, CAG, etc. Tiers. So what does our allocation of the seats of the Rajya Sabha is in the fourth schedule. Now fifth schedule, TEARS. S is related to the administration of the scheduled areas and scheduled tribes, tribal advisory council, only Adivasi governed irrespective of the state. So the president had authority to declare a area as scheduled area under fifth schedule of Article 244 clause 1. Okay, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Jharkhand, MP, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Telangana. Now coming on to the schedule 6, a provision related to administration of tribal areas of like ATM money is the trick to learn that. So ATM money, Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya, Mizoram State Autonomous District Council ADC are vested with legislative, judicial, executive power, including the authority to manage land, forest, and village administration. Okay. Now coming on to the schedule 7, it is regarding the like union, state, and concurrent list. Three list which union and state can make laws. Okay. So union list subject initially 97, presently there are 100 subjects: defense, arm and ammunition, atomic, airways, interstate banking, foreign affairs, labor, mines, census. These are under the list of the union. Now coming out of the list of the states, initially 66 are there. Now 61 subjects. Okay. What are public order, local government, health, liquor, agriculture, facility, cooperative societies, land, lotteries, etc. Five scenario in which Parliament Union can legislate on. Okay, Article 250 is there. During the national emergency, law valid for 6 months. Okay, president's rule, Article 356. Okay, these are the condition in which like center can make govern on the laws of the central of the state. Okay, so two or more state legislature request. Okay, 252 permanent until repealed by the parliament, state cannot amend it themselves. Okay, so two or more state legislator to request to amend to work center to legislate on its subject, then by article 252 the center can do that. Okay, to enforce international treaty in article 253. Then fifth, Rajya Sabha gives Parliament power by special majority in national interest. 249, a resolution thus passed valid for 1 year plus 6 months after expiry. Okay. So if there is international interest, then by 259, the center can legislate on the state subject by, and but is the difference between 249 and 250? So 250 is more of the related to the emergency, but Rajya Sabha, but in this 249, Rajya Sabha has power to legislate for the 1 year and 6 month extended. Okay, what are the subject in the concurrent list in which both can make the laws, but if the clash happens, then central law will prevail over the state law. Okay. So initially 47, presently 52 subject, both state and center can make laws on this subject. Okay. So like marriage, divorce, criminal law, CRPC, bankruptcy, trade and labor dues, electricity, education, weight and measure are in the concurrent list. Okay. Parliament can nullify such a state by passing another law of the same subject. What is residually list? These subjects are not included in union state. Okay. Parliament has power to legislate on the residual list. What does subject transferred from 42nd amendment from state to union? We know that the 42nd amendment is also known as the mini constitution, and it tried to make changes, so many changes in the constitution. So subject transferred through 42nd amendment from state list to concurrent is so education, forest, weights and measure, protection of wild animals and birds, and administrative of justice. Okay. Amendment, a formal change to law, contract, constitution and other legal document. Okay. What does Schedule 8 tells us? Schedule 8 tells about the official languages. Originally there were 14 languages. Presently there are 22 languages. Okay. So there are some constitutional changes of which these languages were changed. Okay. So by 21st Constitutional Amendment Act of 1966, Sindhi was added. Okay. And by 21st 71st हो गया, but not talking about the 71st was the Konkani KNM, Nepali and Maithili was added. Okay. By 92nd amendment was BDSM. Okay. Bodo Dongri Santhali Maithili, like this. And and 96th constitutional amendment is it changed the Odia to Odia. Now trick is there are classical language of India was Tamil, Sanskrit, Telugu, Kannada, Urdu, Maithili, newly added in 2021 Marathi, Pali, Prakrit, Assamese, and Bengali. Now coming on to the Schedule 9. Schedule 9 tells us about the provision related to the land reforms in Jamidari system. It was added through first constitutional amendment. Schedule 10 talks about the defection provision for the disqualification of the MPs and the MLAs on the ground of defection added through 52nd constitutional amendment of the 1985. And Schedule 11 tells about the municipalities in the number of it was done through 73rd constitutional amendment of 1992, and 29 functional items were added through this. For the 12th schedule, we know it is for municipalities, and how many functional items are there? 18 functional items are there. Okay. So talking about the preamble, so we the people of India is taken from USA on 26 January 1950. The preamble was originally declared India a sovereign democratic republic country. Later it was amended by 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976 that added socialist and secular to it. Okay. The decoration was by Bewar Ram Manohar Sinha. We know that the decoration was done by the Nandlal Bose and Bewar Ram Manohar Sinha. Okay, it was borrowed from the USA. Languages of the preamble are taken from the Australia. In case of Ashwini Kumar Upadhyay, Union of India, the Supreme Court rejected the petition challenging the insertion of the socialist and secular into the preamble. It is an introductory statement in the Constitution. It states the reason of the guiding values of the Constitution. It contains a summary and the essence of okay. It meant the entire Constitution was implied. It was modified version of the objective resolution presented by the Jawaharlal Nehru. Now we are talking about what are the comments on the preamble. Now talk about ID card of the Constitution and a Palki Walaji. Political horoscope was the K.M. Munshi. Jail set is by Pandit Thakur Das. Okay. Keynote to the Constitution and Barker. Thakur Das, the soul of the Indian Constitution, most precious artistic can measure the worth of the Constitution. Hiyatullah preamble resembles the Declaration of Independence of USA, but is a more than a declaration. So, understanding the preamble. So where does the constitution takes its power from? It takes its power from the we the people of India. There are different kind of powers that are given. So first of all, I will start with the justice. So social and political and economical justice should be given. Liberty of thought, expression, belief, and like five type of justice of liberty: equality of opportunity, and equality of to promote equality of status and opportunity. Fraternity, there are no parts, but fraternity means brotherhood in our constitution in 26th day of November 9 to hereby adopt, enact and give ourselves to the constitution. This shows that the constitution has been drawn up and enacted by the people through their representative and not handed down to them by a king or any outside power. Okay. What is the nature of the constitution? So people can have supreme right. Sovereign means if it is our internal matter, then we will decide. No one from outside can legislate us or show their power to ourselves. We are sovereign and we will make our own decision. Socialist, like wealth is generated socially and should be shared equally by the society. Government should regulate the ownership of land to reduce social economic inequalities. Okay. Example, Russia capitalist, USA mixed India. The term socialist derives its inspiration from the Russian Revolution. Okay, so types of socialism are there. Radical socialism, the idea of ending a private ownership of business where making everything shared that equal cashless society. So, what is radical socialism? The idea of ending a private ownership business and wealth making shared equally so that everyone is equal in classless society. Okay. Gandhian socialism system providing non-violent, self-reliant, fair wealth distribution through village center economy. What is Nehru's socialism? A system emphasizing state-controlled development to achieve economic growth and social equality. It is also known as the mixed socialism. Now coming on to the secular. Citizens have complete freedom to follow any religion, no religion at all. Okay, there is no official state religion. Government treats all religious belief and practices equally and impartially. In India, secularism follows a private positive concept. Okay. Now talking about the democratic. Democratic means like the government will be elected, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The democratic means system of the government by consent. John Locke, two treaties of the government. The fundamental duties were given by who gave fundamental duties?
The Swaran Singh Committee recommended the fundamental duties in 1976, inspired by the constitution of the former USSR. Parliament ad-
Hmm. So, indirect democracy, a form of government in which citizens elect a representative who make law and take decision on the behalf of them. Okay. Direct democracy are found which citizens directly propose play in the decision and vote on laws and policy themselves. Switzerland, Latvia, Lithuania. John Locke, father of liberalism, book two treaties of the government. Okay. So now objectives of the justice, there are three type of justice: social, economic, political. Citizens cannot be on a grounds of caste, religion, gender, social equity, have to be liberty, liberty of thought, expression, belief, and worship. Okay, five types of liberties and thought. Equality, all are equal before law. Two types of equality: equality of status and opportunity. Fraternity is the brotherhood. Hence, liberty are taken from France, and the ideals of justice are taken from the Russia. Okay. There are is preamble of the constitution amendable. There are some of the cases. Let us look at those cases. First of all, was the Berubaru Union case. The preamble is not a party. So the court held that the preamble is not a part of constitution, and hence it cannot be amended. Second was of the Keshananda Bharti case. It was in the 1973. It stated that the preamble is the part of constitution, is the part of the constitution, and it can be amended. And in this case also the basic structure doctrine was followed by the, it is one of the most important one. Basic structure cannot be cannot be changed. It is given by the Supreme Court of India. It reflects basic structure decided by the Supreme Court. LIC case reaffirmed the Keshavananda Bharti case ruling. Preamble has been amended only once in 1976 through 42nd constitutional amendment, in which two three things were added: socialist, secular, and integrity. Okay. Enforcement of the preamble, it is not enforceable, bro. It is neither a source of power nor a restriction. It is just a guide to the preamble, or the constitution. From reading it we can take a brief idea about that. Okay. What is union and its territories? Now coming on to the uh, different part of the constitution, it is really important. Yeah, काफी सरदर्दी वाला काम है. Give a 5 minutes break, bro. I want some break, then we will continue with the learning the parts of the constitution. Okay, it is really important part. You should be there with me for the rest of the part of the video. So we were at the parts of the Indian Constitution. So part one of the Indian Constitution, it says is talk about the union and its territory. Okay, it is from Article 1 to 4. Part 2 is citizenship. Part 3 is fundamental right. Part 4 is DPSP. Part 4 is fundamental duties. Part 5 is the union. Part 6 is the state. Part 7 is not there. Part 8 is union territories. Okay. Part 9 is the panchayat. Okay. Part 9 is the municipalities. Part 9b is the cooperative societies. Okay. Part 10 is the scheduled and tribal areas. Okay. This is really important part. Like part 9 panchayat, part 8 union territories. Part 8 is union territories. Sure. Now part 11 is the relation between the state and the union. Part 12 talks about the finance, property, and the contract suit. Part 13 is trade, commerce, 3 and intercourse within the range 301 to 307. And part of 4 is related to the services under the union and the state. It is like part 14 of the constitution. Like part 14 is related to the tribunals. Part of 15 is the elections, related to the elections. Part 4 part 16 is related to the special provisions relating to the certain classes. Okay. Now talking about the official languages, it is part 17. Part 18 is the emergency provision. Part 19 is the miscellaneous. Part 20 is the amendment of the constitution. Part 20 is the temporary and transitional or transitional and special provision. A short title, commencement of the authority, text in the Hindi and repeal. Okay. Now part 7 has been deleted by the constitutional amendment, 7th constitutional amendment, and new parts that were added by the 4A, by the 42nd constitutional amendment. Part 9th A was related by the 74th constitutional amendment. Part 9B was the 97th constitutional, and part 14A is by the 14A is related to the 14A. Part 14A is related to the tribunals that was added to by the 42nd constitutional amendment of the 1946. Now coming on to the union and its territories, we are going to with the Article 1. After that, we are going to study about the citizenship, and today's lecture we will be completing after that. So first of all, Article 1 tells about the name and the territory of the union. So India, that is Bharat, shall be the union of state. It is Article 1, and I think after it is the most beautiful article of our constitution. And Article 32 is also beautiful, but I would say I prefer this over this. So what is Article 1? So Article 1 Part 2 states that the state and the union territory there shall be stratified in the first schedule. Article 1 Part 3 Territory of India shall comprise of the territory of the state, union territory specified in the first schedule, and such other territories as may be acquired in the future. Okay, types of polity. India is not a federation but a union of state. Okay, term federation is nowhere mentioned in the constitution. Federation of state means like a new state in like in USA they have right to secede from the union, but India no state has right to secede from the union. Okay, India is an indestructible union of the destructible state. That what does it mean? Like it you cannot secede from the India, but your parts can be done by the India. Like if like some of the state have been broken like Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, so this thing can be done, but you cannot secede from the Indian, right? Any state do not have that right. Article 2 is admission or establishment of the new state. Okay, parliament may by law admit into union and establish new states in such that as it thinks it fits. Okay, Article 3 tells us about the formation of the new state and alteration of the area's boundaries and other existing mm, states. Okay, Parliament may by law form a new state by separation of UT of territory from any state by uniting two or more state or parts of the state by uniting any territory to part of any state. Okay, so increase the area of any state, diminish the area of any state, after the boundaries of any state, alter the name of any state. This is given in the Article 3. Okay, so Article 2 is generally related to taking an territory from the outside India. Okay, and Article 3 is related to the taking alteration of the boundaries that are still existing in the India. Okay, so increase in the area of state, decrease boundaries of the state. These things are covered in the Article 3. Bill subject to the matter related to Article 3 shall be introduced with prior recommendation of the President, who shall refer this bill to legislature and state governor. Fifth constitutional amendment empowered the President to set a time limit for state legislature to express its views. Okay. Difference between Article 2 and Article 3 is like incorporating foreign territories treated by the Article 2, and Article 3 talks about the change in the existing state. So Article 4 is makes that law made under Article 2 and 3 provide for the amendment of the first and the fourth schedule. Okay. So any law made under Article 2 or 3 that amend first or fourth schedule law shall not be considered as the constitutional amendment. Okay. So Article 2 and 3 shall not be considered the constitutional amendment. Indian territory to be ceded, then amendment needed under the Article 368. Okay. If you are going to give your territory to any state, then you need to do an constitutional amendment, such as in the Beribari Union case. Beribari was a place uh, of which there was a trade off was done between the Bangladesh and India, and for that thing you will be requiring the constitutional amendment. Talking about the 100 constitutional amendment of 2015, India Bangladesh boundary agreement. Okay, so India transferred 111 enclaves to Bangladesh, while Bangladesh transferred 51 enclaves to India. Okay, integration of the princely states. Okay, so in 1947, 562 out of 565 princely states agreed to accede to Indian Union by instrument of accession. This was single-handedly done by the Iron Man of India, the man, the myth, the legend, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Okay. On 26th October 1947, Maharaja Hari Singh signed the instrument of accession, thereby acceding the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir to the dominion of India. Okay, Kashmir issue is there, but like Maharaja, like the issue was with Kashmir was that the population there was Muslim majority, but the king was Hindu. So and it was similar case with the Hyderabad. The population was Hindu majority, but the king was Muslim. But so Hari Singh signed an accession of the union with the central government, and he agreed to come to the India. Okay, military assistance invested by the tribal forces supported by the Pakistan. Okay, now coming on to the Junagadh. Junagadh became the part after the conducting referendum. What is referendum? That other people are asked whether you are going to willing to go into Pakistan or India. Okay, so Junagadh was there. Hyderabad was integrated by part of India through military operation core. Operation Polo was done there in 19 September 1948, and there was a classification of the state was done was the part A, B, C, D. So committees on the Linguistic Reorganization Act of the state of the Dhar Committee 1948. Chairman was S.K. Dhar, recommended that states should be reorganized based on administrative convenience, not on the linguistic. Okay. JVP committee, Jawaharlal Vallabhbhai Patel and Pratap Sitaram. So first of all, first committee was in 1948, first committee was S.K. Dhar committee. It said that there should be no linguistic division of the state. As we know that every 10 kilometer our language changes, so it will be done. Then India will be fragmented into very small state. So there was a formation of SK Dhar. He said administrative convenience should be taken into consideration instead of taking into consideration uh, the linguistic basis. Now JVP committee came in 1950. 1948, GVP recommended that they strike down the idea of forming the state on the basis of linguistic basis. So in 1952, there was one activist known as Pottar B. Srilamlu from Andhra. He was requesting to create a state on the linguistic basis when he died. So there was another committee formed in the Fazal Ali Commission, the State Reorganization Act in 1953. They recommended that yes, we can form the states on the basis of the linguistic basis, but he rejected one language, one state idea. He totally rejected. Okay. So now, when the State Reorganization Act passed in 1956, it removed four full codification of the state, 14 states, 6 union territory, first union of the 1st November 1956. With regard to the North India, it saw divide huge Hindi speaking belt into four states: Bihar, UP, MP, and Rajasthan. In East, the existing power state, as they were minor adjustment, the commission rejected the demand for tribal state to be carved out of the Bihar and Assam. Okay. So the commission did not agree with the creation of the Sikh state. Okay. So chronological of the order of the state formation. Okay. So like we have to learn, like with the state reorganization of the act of the 1956, so many states were formed. So there are like different states that are formed. You can learn it by the trick. First of all was the Andhra, second was Maharashtra, third was Gujarat. Okay. And fourth was Nagaland. H was Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Manipur, then Tripura, then Sikkim. So when these of the state, there is a trick like Aam Guna hai Ma'am Tusi Goa or Majlo. Okay. So 1960, the State Reorganization Act bifurcated Bombay into two new states, Maharashtra and Gujarat. Karnataka, Kerala, Andhra, Chhattisgarh, Haryana, and MP celebrate their statehood on 1st November. Additional point to remember: 12th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1962, Goa, UT, Daman and Diu. Okay, Operation Vijay was conducted in 1961. It was we know that there was a Portuguese rule in the Goa and Daman and Diu. So Operation Vijay was conducted, and they were thrown out of the Goa Portuguese colony. 10th Constitutional Dadra and Nagar Haveli now merged with the Daman and Diu in 26 January 2020. Talking about the 22nd Constitutional Amendment, it was created. Meghalaya was created within Assam. Okay, Mizoram, Arunachal created as UT. Okay, Chhattisgarh and Uttarakhand, Jharkhand gained statehood in 2000. Okay, Telangana, 29th state of India, 2 January 2 June 2014. Sikkim special case was earlier ruled by the Chogyal dynasty. There was a 35th amendment of 1974 under Article 2A. It gets complete statehood in 1975 by the 36th Constitutional Amendment, and it is the 22nd state of India. Article 239 states that the Union Territory is administered by the President of India. So Article 239AA, adopted by the 69th Constitutional Amendment, that designated Delhi as the national capital. 239A, inserted by the Constitutional Amendment of the 1962 Parliament by the law, create a legislature, a council of ministers for certain union territories. Chronological order of the union territories are: 1956 State Reorganization Act, Andaman and Nicobar, 1st November 1956. Talking about the Delhi, November 1956. Lakshadweep, like these are given in the article related to the special provision, some state articles. Naam Asma GK. So like some of the state have a special provision given to them to state to see that, we will go with the article number 371, is related to the special position related to the Maharashtra and Gujarat. Okay, so now coming on to the 371A is the Nagaland, B is Assam, now M से Manipur, A से Andhra, establishment of the central university, um, आसमा आंध्रा की सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटीज के लिए था ये नाम, आसमा, आसमा, S for Sikkim, M for Mizoram. First is Manipur is earlier than the Mizoram. Okay, and नाम आसमा, ये से अरुणाचल प्रदेश, and then say Goa, then Karnataka. Okay, all these are Maharashtra and Gujarat is related to Article 310, and then up till A to J, there are different states. We learn it by the Namasma GK. Now, Article 11, Part 11 is not that much important, but we should see at a glance. Article 5 tells about our citizenship on the commencement of the Constitution. Single citizenship is taken from the Britain. Now, coming on to the Article 6, the person who is migrated from Pakistan to India before 19 July were granted citizenship automatically. Okay. Article 7, person who migrated from India to Pakistan first after was not considered citizen of India as they returned to India without permanent. Okay. Article 8, a person of Indian origin residing outside India may require Indian citizenship by registering an embassy in their country registration. Article 9 provided that if a person voluntarily acquired the citizenship of a foreign state, he will no longer be the citizen of India. Article 10 is the continuance of the right of the citizenship. Article 11 is related to the regulate the citizenship by the law. Now, Citizenship Act of the 1955, it is really important. After genuine acquisition of the state by British, just solely right to soil before 1 July, any person born a citizen, irrespective of the nationality of the now, just due to concern of the illegal immigration law was amended, and the person born after 3 December 2003, citizenship by birth granted only one parent of Indian citizen, and there should be no. Okay, so earlier was just solely like if you are born on the soil of India, you will be considered as the Indian citizen. This kind of thing happens in the foreign place. Okay, but now the right to blood is there. So like your one parent must be either Indian, then you will get the citizenship. It was amended through the uh, uh, it was amended through the constitutional amendment. What are the other things? By descent, a person born outside India acquired Indian citizen by descent. Either one parent is Indian citizen. By registration, okay, if you have resided in India for 7 years, then you can be registered. Okay, by naturalization, granted to the foreign national who have been residing in India for 12 years, 11 years preceding, 14 years, 1 year immediately before application. Okay, they must know one language mentioned in the 8th schedule. 3rd schedule of the citizenship is the 1955 mentioned qualification of the naturalization. Citizenship Amendment Act 2003 provides that an illegal immigrant cannot acquire Indian citizenship through registration or naturalization. It is laid in the creation of the NRC. By incorporating territory sector 7, the territory became part of India. The government of India specified that shall be granted Indian citizen. Can lose citizenship, renunciation, you can renounce, termination, voluntary acquired citizenship of anyone without informing, deprivation if acquired citizenship by fraud, false document, disloyalty to the constitution, continuous resident outside India for 7 years, okay, imprisonment for 2 years within 5 years after resignation. Okay, 7 during the war. What is OCI? Overseas Citizen of India scheme was introduced in 2005 through an amendment to the Citizenship Act of the 1955. The person of the Indian origin PIO scheme, Overseas Citizen of India, was merged 2050 to simplify the origin being a restriction on the OCI card holders. So no right to vote, not eligible for public services or government post, not permitted to own agricultural property in India. Indian passport is not issued on the OCI card. They are foreign citizen. Okay. Benefits of the OCI: lifelong multiple entry visa to visit. Okay, facilities similar to NRI, economical, financial, and educational field. Permission to buy, sell immovable property, plantation property, and farmhouses. Eligible to practice certain professions. Okay. Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019. Okay. Fixed communities, Bangladesh naturalization. Criteria: must have lived in India for either 6 years and 12 years. Okay. Assam accord citizenship of the Act of the 1985. Section 6 of the Indian Citizenship is a special provision arising of the 1985 Assam Laws, setting a quota for the migration. It grants citizenship those who entered before the 1966. Okay. So now coming to the points to remember. In India, both citizen by birth, citizen by national accord, citizen are eligible for office of president, unlike USA, where naturalization is not eligible to become the president. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for keeping me on this system.